you know, you remind me, you triggered me a funny story. This is why one of my favorite stories I tell is the legendary tale of a crazy Somalian guy. Yeah?
Okay, right.
He used to walk around the street talking to himself, so everyone knew him as the crazy guy, innit?
Yeah.
So one day someone said to him, hey Chama, you always talk to you, so what do you talk about? He said, listen mate, there's two versions, each one is funnier than the other. The first version, he said, legend has it, he said, listen, I'm not the only one who talks to myself. He said, I only make myself to hear what I'm saying.
Yes.
So he's saying,
everyone's talking to himself.
yeah, everyone, but it's like he's basically doing me and you having thoughts. He's doing what me and you call having thoughts, because we're calling thinking having thoughts, but really it's just a form of self-talk. Because you ask a question, you answering it, you ask it, or you're thinking about it, or whatever, or what do I want, where do I want to go, and what do I eat, what shall I eat? You know what I mean? All these are decisions that you're doing it, but you call it thinking thought. But they went to take the mick out of him, but he said, I'm only making myself to hear what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's saying instead of it going below the threshold of his awareness,
it's coming up.
he's bringing it up so he can actually make it. But the second version is more funny. He said, listen, man, I'm not the only one who talks to myself. He said, everyone talks to themselves. The only difference is I argue with myself.
Yeah, exactly.
But I just told that story to bring it aware to them that, look, you're having so many thoughts, X amounts of thoughts. There's even an estimate we have about 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day, yeah? And most of them are under that.
Yeah.
Even I heard, what's his name, in Trump, in the 80s, they maybe estimated we have 50,000 thoughts a day. So even there's a quote by Trump says, listen, you have 50,000 thoughts a day, why not make them good or something like this?
Yeah, true.
So that you can be successful in that. So anyway, and there's another verse as well. Allah says, وَأَسِرُوا قَوْلُكُمْ أَوْ اجْهَرُوا بِهِ إِنَّهُ عَلِيمٌ بِذَاتِ الصُّدُورِ أَلَا يَعْلَمُ مَنْ خَلَقَ وَهُوَ اللَّطِيفُ الْخَبِيرُ. Allah in the Quran talking about him.
In Surah Jummah.
Yeah, Surah Al-Mulk. The dominant.
Yes, Surah Al-Mulk, yeah.
Allah says, there's many verses where Allah mentions that because it talks about that.
Latif al-Khabir.
Yeah, because that means he knows the secrets of the heart.
Latif means subtle.
Yeah, subtle. Subtle and acquainted. He's saying he's subtle and acquainted with everything you think and do. So Allah, so that's what he means. But in this verse, he says, whether you say it out loud or whether you keep it in, he said he knows the secrets of the heart, and he said, he know he's subtle and acquainted. He's aware with the subtle, and he's acquainted with the subtle. So the most subtle thought you could have, Allah is aware of it. But the point I'm trying to say is most of us, we're not aware of the amount of thoughts. If I say to you 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, what thoughts were you having? I'm sure there were some thoughts. Maybe you remember, like when you mentioned you're the emotional one, the emotionally charged ones. You remember them, or if they are relevant to maybe like a podcast today or something you need to do. But other than that,
it goes into subconscious.
The others will be gone. So you might just remember a few points that were emotionally charged or were relevant to something you need to do or want to do. Other than that, you could have been. You could have had a thought. Like now, when you said that, you know, when you had that smell that day, and it triggered you being in Pakistan 30 years ago or being in London or wherever. When you triggered the bonfire night. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Those moments, look, those were coming. Another thing we forget is we get triggered, but we have imagery. We think in imagery. That's another thing we don't realize. Sometimes, you know, they say, what do they say? A picture is worth
1,000 words.
Now imagine that picture you had of that bonfire that night. That's an image, that's a mental imagery. It's powerful. Instead of you saying it out 1,000 words,
exactly.
That image was 1,000 words.
True. It evokes strong sense of emotions, and you know, even